Half a day, Tiro Fai Show, good morning and welcome to your house. To all those in the gallery and the lobby and the viewing public on the different platforms from cable and other social media platforms, good morning and welcome. I now call this 8th day, second regular session to order. Please let us all rise for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you, everyone. I now recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Fata,
Present.
Representative Aldon, Representative Fatal,
Present.
Representative Benavente,
Yeah.
Representative Angelo Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Diego Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Joel Komatsu,
Yeah.
Representative Vicente Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Castro,
Estiga.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Present.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Present.
Representative Manglonia,
Present.
Representative Vogel,
Present.
Representative Omar,
Present.
Representative Probst,
Present.
Representative Sablan, Representative Nicolas,
Present.
Mr. Speaker,
Present.
Representative Yanktamai, Representative Yumo,
Present.
Mr. Speaker, all 20 members are present.
Thank you, clerk. With all 20 members present, that constitutes a quorum to move forward with today's session. We now move down to item number 2, public comments, and the podium is open. Please state your name and the entity you represent. Please keep your comments germane to today's agenda. Podium's open.
Alfred and Mogothin, and good morning, Mr. Speaker and members of this House. First of all, Mr. Speaker, I asked the Sergeant at Arms, can I have an agenda? Because I don't have and they're bringing. Because there's 2 agendas. You know, I reviewed the agenda last night and this morning. I tried to review it quickly, and probably all of you here know why I'm standing here. But there's other issues that I had the agenda that I saw last night when I was doing some reviewing and studying. And first of all, Fernanda, I'm going to speak in Chamorro. Buenas, Toro Samjo, no, ni Mangay gini, no, member ni Sampapa na guma. Susmasi, Mr. Speaker, then no, Toro Samjo ni Mangay, no, go si Richard Hofschneider, so no, matuzuk sa, no, puristisya na guasya, hindi nga, maapos na, do semana tempo no, Mr. Speaker, komento siya tagi ni Papa, ni, uno na ako to nagay gizo kanilo ki, puso sa tijulo ki Senate ni House session ni Amanda ni, za magayga gini magi si former speaker si kunyaw pagun special assistant to the governor no puris G 15 million. Lo first of all na gay gizo gini sa kumekanto sa first of all no under the Northern Marianas Constitution na I'm not an NMD. The NMD zo toto tano zo ama chamorro hone, you know, from the Mariana Islands. And I'm a US citizen, and I'm a citizens of the Northern Mariana Islands. I'm a US citizen. And that's where I'm standing right now. So let's everybody know afan tumatogyo gini. Then I came here as a personal and capacities, and at the same time, lucky part-time no advisors do para matua Council for Native Chamorro Advancement. And secondly, for those of for all the media, it's important that the Saipan Tribune, Marianas Variety, and the KSPN, please be objective, because when we stand up here, there's an opposing view besides what the legislators are proposing. That's why we're here, because it's the house of the people. You know, the election is over. You guys are the leadership now, and it's very important that when they present it out in the media, you know, it's not one-sided. So I just spoke to my good friend over there, Mr. Villardi, who works at the Saipan Tribune and others. So anyway, and let me speak in English now, because I want everybody to understand what am I talking about when I'm standing here, both here in the House of the People and outside in the media. And the reason why I recently, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I decided to speak out in the social media. I don't have a Facebook account and only have an email. And the reason why, because the 3 minutes, I cannot express myself how we see things in a lot of the agenda, both this legislature and the prior legislatures, both the Senate and the House and the executive branch. So I'm just going to try to go down the line. First of all, I'm going to touch on the Senate President's 902 joint resolution for the United States government to I believe the State Department, the President is going to call on a joint resolution to talk about the what's affecting us in our Commonwealth. As you all noted and know that we have a covenant that we signed in 1975 and 76, and we had a constitutional government in 1978, and so on and so forth. And every 10 years, both government has to bring up issues that is affecting their relationship. And I applaud the Senate for doing that. And I urge the legislature to pass this. And thank God, this is the thing that I'm so happy today, because we agree on this Senate joint resolution. But one thing, when I was looking down the issue and the agenda they're bringing up to the U.S. government or the federal government is only the economy, of the. Sorry, I usually call it. I'm still trying to get used to the term. What's the name of that, Congress, Mr. Speaker? The foreign workers that need to get out. Touchback, I thought it was an NFL rule, like touchdown or something like that from the Homeland Security. That's just a joke, but I'm trying to memorize that term. So they always bring that up because somehow when they took over, the U.S. immigration took over as their right in the covenant negotiation, they said they're going to make it better for all of us as U.S. citizens, as us in the Mariana Islands, especially the Tototano, because all the people that signed the covenant are all Chamorros, with the exceptions of, I think, Dr. Palacios, the Governor Palacios' dad, part Carolinian from Sato, Lamatric descendant, and my Uncle Bernard, and the late Benjamin Manglonia, Songa, and on and on. And that's my concern. It's almost 48 years since we had this covenant Commonwealth. And I mentioned last time, we only have now, I believe, we only have $7.25 an hour minimum wage, or $7.50 an hour. And the cost of living are going so high. I've walked into CUC, I've walked into insurance companies, I've walked into, NMHC. I met people that just talked to me about the cost of living so high for the past 10 years. So it's very important that I ask the Senate President and the Senate members of the Senate and the Speaker of the House and members of the House and the Governor to please put in the agenda of the standard of living for the Tototano, the people here, myself, and thousands others of Chamorros from Luta, Tinian Saipan, and Sakatan Isla. And when we talk about our standard of living, it applies to people that were born and raised here, that are not Tototano, because they chose to live here. And you know what? It's very, very, the cost is so high. And that's why I'm supporting this. So I urge that you put that on the agenda. And another thing, too, to put on the agenda is the environment. The environment, as you can see, right now, if you open up CUC's water quality, Mr. Speaker and members of the House, Rhoda has good water. Tinian is questionable. Saipan is completely out of the question. And we have a high cancer rate. As Gono, what's the name of that, PFOS? PFOS is the one that is going into the water system for many, many years. And somehow they said it comes from the Mobil gas station, Mobil jet fuel. But for me, it comes from World War II, because there were major battlefield, the B-29 flies out of Saipan and Tinian. So put that on the agenda, address it to the U.S. government, as the U.S. government, State Department, the Department of Defense, to help us clean up this one. Because right now, as I pass by Chalancanoa, church, every week I see funerals. Sometimes I feel bad because I'm going on the road and I'm so busy, I cannot attend. And later on, we know it's our family or our friends. And this is very important, and that's Mr. Speaker and many more others. But I'm gonna submit my written testimony, and I urge my good cousin Patrick Hofschneider San Nicolas from Tinian to please address Congressman the high cancer rate. I've mentioned it in my social media that Uncle Freddy died of cancer. My brother Herman died of cancer. The late Ben De La Cruz died of cancer. Juan King, my cousin, died of cancer. These are all my people. My cousin died of cancer again. I heard that Uncle Boy Sanchez died of cancer, younger than me, and my other cousin again. So on and on. They died of cancer. So there's high rate of cancer death. So I urge that, Mr. Speaker, it's the responsibility of this House. I know you guys are represented. You're voting in your prison, but you're the House of Representative for the entire Sinamay. Please help Tinian and Saipan. Put that on the agenda. Ask the Senate President and the members of the Senate and the Governor to put that on the agenda. And lastly, because I know I'm running out of time, Public Law House Bill 23-77, Senate Draft 1. Mr. Speaker and the former Speaker, Special Assistant Mr. Babalta and others came over there, and all the Acting Director of Planning were there. I spent last week a couple hours in court session listening to all the deliberation about the project. Oh, sorry. The EDA. Sorry, because I'm mixing other funding from the United States government. They're telling us, Mr. Speaker, I know the governor said and the lieutenant governor saying it's an emergency. This is, for me, projects like that is not an emergency. With all due respect, it is important. Those projects are important. The 12 that Mr. Former Speaker, Congressman, and others, they brought 12 from the Senate Draft 1. It's very important. Don't get me wrong. But it's not an emergency, Mr. Speaker, Congressman Kamatsu and Congressman Probst and others here. It's not an emergency. And Congressman Kilili, I reiterate one more time, Congressman Kilili can go in there. He's the U.S. Congress. Because really, if I'm the U.S. Congress, which I don't want to be a U.S. Congress, I have a lot of issues in my life, and that's all this to run. I would knock on the Department of Commerce to make sure that money goes in without no obligation. If they're telling us the truth that they need that 115 million from Marianas Public Land Trust Fund with a 5% interest, from 7% to 5% interest, and the interest, the prior loan was defaulted, and that's, for me, that's not an emergency. You know what's an emergency? Medical referral is an emergency. I hear a lot of people are fundraising. I see on the paper. I see when I walk in town. That's an emergency. They couldn't get off the island because they don't have the money at the medical referral. Even myself, for four weeks, 2 doctors referred me. I left that document in front of Mr. Speaker. You can ask your staff and members of Congress to ask the medical referral down. 2 medical doctors told me to go back to my specialties. I put my name in. I'm just waiting. I don't call because they said they're going to call me. I want to listen and test the system. And it's important. That's an emergency. What's an emergency? Is CUC, the high cost of living. If you're working at $7.25 an hour, $7.50, with 2 are working or 1 is working, it's very hard. That's an emergency. There's thousands and thousands out there of Tototanim, Mansamora, and others that couldn't afford. It's a paycheck to paycheck. That's an emergency. You know what's another emergency? When your house is being foreclosed, and it's been on market. You go to the court. You sit down in the court. I look at, sometimes when I go to court to pick up something, I sit down and look at how many on the foreclosure since last year, 2 years ago, and these are emergencies. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge the members of this House, Congressman Kamatsu, Probst, and others, Congressman Atto and Congresswoman Flores and Benti and all, and delay this project. For me, if I'm sitting in there, it's unethical for me to vote yes. When I walk out here in 30 minutes and I'm seeing people suffering, So this 15 million is an issue that we want the interest before I step off this podium. My goal when I'm standing here and others is to take that interest And I asked this question, and the Senate never answered me. And I told Senate President, who owns the interest from this Marianas Public Land Trust? And number two, all this land that has been transferred from government public land out, whether out to another government entity, whether a nonprofit, or to land exchanges and all the stuff, who owns it? You know, because for me, I know the answer, but I want this elected body to make the initiative to set the record straight. Because where I'm standing here, I'm gonna follow it. Whatever you guys, this body decided, I'm gonna go to Marianas Public Land Trust because they have a fiduciary duty. You know, both of the DPL and MPLT, and I believe that all of you here have a fiduciary duty, as I said, and the Senate and the governor, because the United Nations took the land that was stolen from the Spanish, German, and Japanese, and they gave it to the Trust Territory, and Trust Territory gave it to us. So as of today, the Tautotano are suffering. Their standard of living are going down, and a lot of them are going out, going to Hawaii, to Texas, to California, to Oregon, to Washington, to Idaho. And I asked one basic question: why are you leaving? And they asked me, why am I staying? I said, I love my island.
Sir, Mr. Haufschneider, can you wrap up your comments, please?
Okay,
It's
I'll
been almost 10
do it in 1
minutes.
minute. Excuse me, Mr. Speaker. And they asked me the access, quality access to medical health. Number two, salary. There's no guaranteed salary to raise a family. You know? And number three, it's so political. If you speak your mind and your First Amendment, your contract is terminated. You're not going to be employed, even if you're qualified, both in the private and the government, and in the private sector. The whole 902 is focused for many years. I've noticed it's on foreign workers. You know, they're not focusing on us. It's not discrimination. There's not discrimination here. I am my good friend here, Mr. De La Torre. It's called, we signed the contract with America. We signed the covenant for a better quality of life and citizenship. We just finished celebrating 2 days ago, Mr. Speaker, and that's why I'm standing here. I'm a U.S. citizen, and that's what we signed off here. So, in the interest of time, Jesus Masi, Komogar no, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much, and Congressman Patrick Haufschneider, Santa Claus, Komogar, and Jesus Masi, and please, I ask you to vote and defer this, and go speak with Congressman Kilili, because you have 30 days, if I'm not mistaken, to access this before the $97 million from U.S. Department of Commerce, they deferred. And for me, please do not touch that over 100-some million investment from the Tautotano. For me, belongs to the Chamorro people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Haufschneider.
Yeah.
Podium still open for public comments.
Good morning, Speaker, honorable members of this august body. My name is Ray Yumo. I'm here on behalf of the Marianas Racing Association to invite you guys to our coming tournament this Saturday and Sunday, November 25th and 26th. We're going to have a beautiful race up at Cowtown. We have riders from Guam coming in the week before the practice and to race our kids. So like to invite everybody to be there, and we also look forward to your generous support in helping making this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yumo. Podium still open.
Hafide, buenos dias, para toda amzu. Guau Siliana Sablon Haufschneider, Gaigazugini, para Matua Council for Native Chamorro Advancement. Di bina anakukuisti, sa gwahay so kuno fera di handing comment pa binahalum lo yochuloki para bi tugi usung i publiko afa masa sesedi gini gi mapus na dos na semana na tempo pod i asunto ni 15 milyon ni mapropoponi poro suli gini ni Marans Public Land Trust como poro maazo. Gifinu Amerikano guide line of credit. Yochuloki no linya loan lo linya ti loan na line of credit. Gifinu tomorrow taja no line of credit or loan. DB at dos. Pues si man poro madibi mapropoponi po madibi 15 milyon gini ni ikahan i tototano isalapi tototano ni manggagi juga ato gi Marans Public Land Trust. Todo tumungo para iti tumungo edzo na salapi ma fatinas edzo na salapi i gagi pago maski 7 milyon gagi na nalililiko gi investment gi tano. Yochu no salapi gini ni land lease iman at kilontano no gi Marans Department of Public Lands. Pues eno na salapi siya man mapoluhulo gato gi Marans Public Land Trust sa investment arm giza propula ni kaha za una fanyago i salapi. Kosa kisi niya guaha salapi pero ajuda ito totano iman dueño ni tano za ni salapi. So esta bula man masangan, tinisaru para taripiti, por favor, no esta 48 años de esta firma y covenants y americano, ni ta man maprometi hit mas molik na nilala, ito na rason na ta firma y akto ni covenant, ni tanai tanu 2/3 kana interamenti tinian, gimagain malago niya amerikano po suli interamenti tanu tinian lo ito tinian mangulo, zama konja. Pues yotu matulizi itano katan gi tano noos mas matungo niya di mas matungo pag na tempo sa naan kolonyo no iman man hot min on niya i Fairlawn di Mendeniza no ni para ma exercisyo ni Amerikano pero ma dinamita. Yotu no este papa i puntan mutsut no jumalok Tanapak Harbor ni magagi i American Memorial Park dan exchange para militar i tendan niya i kamisirya no mampus saga sininte kusta gan actually no tutungo no tamano pa bitutun istis hasta kwanto años so mafatu gini na pisun kongreso pisun mizu pabi kuntusian zo put fenkasitano i fenkasitototano para tosi tono dan i airi i dan i sistema i hinemlo i tototano ti mananono manahit mananono tatihit no sigun gi todo if inilangos no office na report po di tauto dan itano man sasagay tototano man malongo tototano tof man mamatay tototano istay tano ti gagi lamitos tagitano managi gi kanay tototano puro magagi ko totohizong pues bihutsumag yan no zabi sangonyam justi estanahong atan itototano. Esta 48 años de esta firma y covenant to establish the political relationship between the United States of America and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Itano itototano beripiti talo. Tasi ni tototano. Jadi na distipago mumumazo ni pamananalo si sentu na 97 Miza suzong na tono ni uno na celuta desidia po na yung gato yung Amerikano sa titano niya, titasi niya Amerikano. No? Sa taza direksyon niya, si Delegate Kilili po fanain ni 197 miles exclusive economic zone. Iotro, taza direksyon Mizo, or direksyon odin na gobyerno, dyan odin na legislatura, dyan odin na Marans Public Land, Department of Public Lands, po fanain po fanintrega tono sin consentamento ito tono. Pues no polo sa sempre no wahamos maluk bula tempo ni para ta diskutis ti sa titafan masangoni na estanahong. Pues guahu sangongan yamzu estanahong. No ito totono ni tanonia, no ito totono ni salapinia, donafan malik ni lalanya sa estigi mafitma sa magarintia na Amerikano. Ofa na magarintia estigi. Lelinya gini U.S. Public Law 94-241, 90 statutory 263, covenant to establish a Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands in political union with the United States of America. Presidential Proclamation Number 45334, U.S. 94th Congress Joint Resolution Number 549. Bibabay no na dokumento sa biatan. Bago iultimo, ufafaisin itulu Delegate Gregorio Kilili, Kamatsu, Sablan, por favor. Ano tatig Article 7. Zombiro tatig amzu gi Article 8. Gi covenant ni Agogo United States Financial Assistance. Okay, atan offer pinumetin i-covenant. Sa niya na ultimuha i-ginago giseti anyos duda na ultima giseti anyos. Sa esta pago 48 anyos sistema ng Amerikano sa 97 million at stake. Sa man manggogo sa lapi po sa manay grant. Lotaza plano ni mano ni pamatsuli sa lapi ni po ni napasi until the reimbursement sa matunga i-conditions. The conditions ni lilinga na required upfront and then reimbursement. So matunga, pues plano ni sti, maplano at mano ni po masaki sa lapi totano, dani tano ito totano. Sizus masi. Data fana aliyo chupanda.
Thank you. If you have written comments, please feel free to turn it in. Thank you. Podium is still open. Again, please state your name, the entity you represent. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, and to these members of this body, legal counsel. Good morning to you all. Hafade. My name is Mr. Edwin Raymond Bora Kirwa. I stand here as a local native, not as an NMD, and local indigenous native of the Maranas. Mr. Speaker, and to the members of this body, there's only two questions that I will be having it certified, notarized, and delivered to the Legislative Bureau this week. A question that one of it I brought up to you all here, except one was missing, and I forgot who was that, this year in April. I asked you all a simple question about my national identity on the flag. None of you all wanted to answer. I asked recently Congressman U.S. Delegate Kilili. It took me 9 years for him to even email me to have a sit down 2 days after the typhoon, recent typhoon. Imagine 9 years. The trick to that, I found out, having this public comment open forum is useless. I found a way. Have it notarized, certified. Why? Because it becomes legal tender. URO will be obligated to answer it, like he did. So one of those questions that will be asked, that I will be asking, is again about the flag. To the point where right now, I'm waiting for the United States Congress Ethics Committee for their report. It has been accepted since since July. So I'm just in a waiting process here. But I will not forget you all to answer it the same thing I'm asking Kilili. Why? I see even the seal you so proudly present right behind you, Speaker. Did you all know that you are violating the law with that seal right behind you, Speaker? Why? And that will be on the record. Even Kilili stated, the person that has the official seal right now in his office, and it's there, 2 feet when you enter his office, on your right side, is our Attorney General. Why I say that flag is an illegal seal, and to all those flying it, because nothing, according to the Constitution, can touch the sacred stone, Ilari. That is a disgrace. And you honor that every day. You make laws behind a disgraceful seal. Yet the Attorney General is the only person who's flying the official seal, and go and check if you have time. It's only a walking distance from here. The flowers do not touch the sacred stone. That is the big difference. Even Kilili, I had to re-educate him. He doesn't even know what is the standard size of the Constitution requirement of the 2 by 2 by 2. and super-embossed. All those flags that are flying out, they're silk screen. Are you all then following the law that you all make the law, yet break it in the process? So, like former Congressman William Torres also stated, he did not know in 1985 that there were Carolinians, and the Constitution Amendment on that year was a singular, a Carolinian. That affects me today. Why do I have to fly outside the Sinai and into the international airspace for UN Resolution 683 to acknowledge me fully as an indigenous Tautotonu? Yet I come back home, I'm split in half to entertain my national identity. Why? Yet you go to any nation, see their flag, even Israel and Palestine right now, they're killing themselves over land. What makes you think that's no different from what we're saying, our land here? Colonialism. It's a fact. The only thing, there's no bloodshed. But yet they're fighting for land. Do you see Palestine, Israel right now flying two culture in one flag? We're the only stupid, I'm sorry for the language, I take it back. But we are not in conformity. We're the only ones, when you look at it in existence around the world, that we are, even as a territory of the United States, we represent two cultures in one flag. Yet the international community only says there's only one indigenous culture here. Who created the other? And yet, Kilili, September 7, Bob Schwabach, with all the agenda I've been bringing out, he managed to go to the CIA and change the fact book on the CIA, which again, Congressman,
Mr. Kitugwa, like I mentioned, to try to keep it germane to the agenda, sir, there is nothing on the agenda about the flag or the seal.
I thought
So
open
I
comment.
thought, I was under the impression that your opening statement would
Well,
lead into
This
maybe
would tie,
related to
I'm
the
sorry, Congressman,
NPLT
I
bill.
take it back,
Okay,
but this would tie to MPLT.
okay. So please,
Now, I
proceed to
ask
that.
you this,
Thank you.
Congressman, Speaker, and I'll just leave it there. Since you made the bill, introduced the bill to all you members, this bill, you're saying, for an administration, for Arnold Palacios, right? You're putting a person's name. I challenge all of you. Can you, Speaker, write the same bill and put the people to earn that interest, $15 million? Can you reintroduce? Why I say the difference is we, the people, through MPLT, not the NMD, the indigenous Tautotano, can pay our debt. The government cannot. You guys need to piggyback on the indigenous people asset. And that's why I bring the flag. It ties. Everything ties. Because why? My national identity. Who owns MPLT? Needs to be addressed. Again, MPLT, who owns it? The interest, like Mr. Officer mentioned. Did the NMD put anything on the table to deserve a penny like the Tautotano? That our ancestors today, that we today, as indigenous Tautotano, we carry the merit of that DNA mitochondria that we can testify goes back 2,500 years. They gave up blood. They gave up land. What did the NMD give up? So justify that. How are they entitled to a penny over the Tautotano? And it ties again to the flag. So everything that I bring up ties to the flag. Without that seal, it wouldn't be a government. Well, thank you, Congressman, and to all members. Memorias.
Sizus Masi, Mr. Kitugwa. Podium still open. Okay. Mr. Hofschneider, I'm going to give you 1 minute because you've had more than 10 minutes your first round. 1 minute,
yeah,
and I will
just-
cut you off, sir.
Just must Mr. Speaker, for giving me 10 minutes because the This is mostly because the Senate President gave me only, I believe, 5 minutes up there. Okay, ayaw comprende ano, Sergeant Arms. So comprende sa amam sa matsotso ganun tunga, being a veteran here. Congressman, good morning. This has nothing to do with the agenda, but it's related to the agenda. And I saw on the agenda, there's a lot of you that went off island for official APIO. I've been to APIO to attend that agenda many years ago in Tinian and in YAP and others. And I urge that there's no law, but the good congressman from Precinct 1, Congressman Flores, he has a bill that addresses about mileage. You know, all of government officials, not only the House of Congress here, but the Senate and the government and everywhere, every government employee, when they travel, with the exception of federal funding, I don't know, we have to look into the federal law, they use taxpayers' money to travel. And, you know, it's known that there's a practice that you volunteer to transfer that mileage to United Airlines if you're flying, and they can upgrade you. So I was thinking the other day, I said, you know, I've seen a lot of challenges about medical referral to fundraise. Mr.
Sir,
Speaker,
your time is up, sir. And,
I urge Mr. Speaker, lastly, just 1 second, I have 5 seconds. I challenge all of you, members of the House and the Senate, and all the governor and the lieutenant governor, to transfer all those mileage that you earn while flying for official functions under CNMI taxpayers' money and MPLT and DPL, and give it to the medical referral for the patients and the escorts. They don't have to fundraise. Jesus Masi.
thank you.
Have
Thank you.
compassion. Thank you. And Mr. What's his name? Mr. Congressman Ariola Flores. Yes, a bill that was not entertained last year.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
needs to be entertained. He has a good bill.
And yes, we did entertain. Okay, thank you, Mr. Hofschneider. With nothing further, we'll move down to item number 3, adoption of journals, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 3, adoption of journals, we have 2 items. The first is a 6-day second regular session journal dated October 5th, 2023, and the 7th-day second regular session journal dated October 12th, 2023.
Thank you, clerk. I now recognize the floor leader for the adoption of journals.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of the 6-day second regular session journal dated October 5, 2023, and the 7th-day second regular session journal dated October 12, 2023. So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader. Motion has been made by the floor leader to adopt the 6-day second regular session journal dated October 5th, 2023, and the 7th-day second regular session journal dated October 12th, 2023, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Journals are hereby adopted. Thank you, members. We now move down to item number 4, introduction of bills. And I recognize Representative Manglonia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to formally introduce House Bill number 23-81 to establish a permanent one-stop business license and permitting center operated by the Department of Commerce, and to incorporate a 7-day working maximum waiting period on all new business license and permitting applications, and for other purposes pre-filed by myself. May I
Thank you. Proceed.
Yeah. Also, formally introducing House Bill number 23-82 to amend the fire safety code to apply the International Fire Code guiding standard in the Commonwealth, pre-filed by myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Manglonia. House Bills number 2381 and 2382 will be referred to the Committee on Commerce and Tourism for 2381, and 2382 will be referred to the Committee on JGO. I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Formally introducing House Bill number 2383 to authorize the Secretary of the Department of Lands and Natural Resources to approve licensed veterinarians. This is pre-filed by myself and open to all members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, floor leader. House Bill number 23-83 will be referred to the Committee on JGO. With nothing further, we move down to House Local Bills, and I recognize Representative Julie Ogle.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm formally introducing House Local Bill number 23-31 to reappropriate $35,000 allotted under Rhode Local Law 21-03 and for other purposes, pre-filed by myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Ogo. Your House bill will be referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Thank you. And with nothing further, we move down to item number 5, introduction of resolutions, and I recognize Representative Yanktamai. Thank you, Representative Yanktamai, and with no objection from the author, if we can introduce this at the Committee of the Whole. All right, thank you. House Resolution number 23-9 is hereby introduced by the Committee of the Whole and will be placed on today's resolution calendar for action. With nothing further under resolutions, we now move down to item number 6, messages from the Governor, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 6, we have 3 Governor's Communications, Governor Communication 2353, 2354, and 2355.
Thank you, Clerk. Any discussions under messages from the Governor? Ready? All right, thank you. We move down to item number 7, Senate Communications. I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 7, we have several communications from the Senate. Senate Communication 2355 through 2362.
Thank you, Clerk. I now like to recognize the floor leader for the motion to accept Senate Communications.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move that the House accept Senate Communication 23-55 to Senate Communication 23-62 so that it becomes a property of the House. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made by the floor leader to accept Senate Communications so that they become the property of the House, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor to accept Senate Communications, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Senate Communications are hereby property of the House. Under Senate Communications 23-56 will be placed on today's bill calendar for action. Senate Communication 23-57 will also be placed on today's bill calendar for action. Senate Communication 23-58 will also be on today's resolution calendar for action. Senate Communication 2359 will also be placed on today's resolution calendar for action. And lastly, Senate Communication 23-62 will be placed on today's bill calendar for action. Thank you, colleagues. Are there any discussions under the other Senate communications? Ready? All right, thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 8, House Communications, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under House Communications, we have House Communication 23-60 through 23-73.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under House Communications? Ready? Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to communications from the judicial branch. We have none. Item number 10, communications from departments and agencies. I recognize the clerk.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. Under item 10, communications from department and agencies, we have Department Agency Communication 23-8 through 23-10.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under communications from departments and agencies? Ready? Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 11, miscellaneous communications, and I recognize the clerk.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Under item 11, miscellaneous communications, we have miscellaneous communication 23-42 through 23-48.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under miscellaneous communications? Ready? All right. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 12, reports of standing committees, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 12, reports of standing committees, we have 7 standing committee reports. Standing Committee Report 2348 through 2354.
Thank you, clerk. I now recognize the floor leader for the adoption of standing committee reports. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-48, reporting on House Bill number 23-75 entitled to reappropriate $13,401 allotted under Public Law number 20-61 and for other purposes. Your House Committee on Ways and Means recommends that the House pass this bill in its current form. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-48, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All right. All in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-48, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Standing Committee Report 23-48 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-49, reporting on House Bill number 23-68 entitled to increase the passenger vehicle excise tax to 10% and for other purposes. Your House Committee on Ways and Means recommends that the House pass this bill in the form of House Bill number 23-68, House Substitute 1. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 23-49, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay. All in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report number 23-49, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Standing Committee Report number 23-49 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-50, reporting on House Bill number 23-78 entitled to increase the tax imposed on soft drink and alcoholic beverage containers. Your House Committee on Ways and Means recommends that the House pass the bill in the form of House Bill number 23-78, House Substitute 1. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 23-50, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, all in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-50, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Standing Committee Report 23-50 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-51, reporting on House Bill number 23-79 entitled to increase marriage license application fees. Your House Committee on Ways and Means recommends that the House pass the bill in its current form. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 23-51, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, all in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-51, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. 23-51 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-52, reporting on House Bill number 23-69 entitled to exempt cinema agencies from obtaining a permit for the repair, maintenance, or replacement of any public improvement that is not a new improvement and for other purposes. Your House Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations recommends that the House pass this bill in its current form. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 23-52, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, all in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-52, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Standing Committee Report 23-52 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-53, reporting in House Bill number 23-70 entitled to establish the offense of drunk and disorderly conduct as a payable infraction and for other purposes. Your House Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations recommends that the House pass the bill in the form of House Bill number 23-70, House Substitute 1. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of Standing Committee Report 23-53, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, all in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-53, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. 23-53 is hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 54, reporting on House Bill number 23-73 entitled to amend 1 CMC Section 7406A4 to include the Office of the Public Auditor vehicles in the definition of law enforcement vehicle. Your House Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations recommends that the House pass a bill in its current form. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made by the Floor Leader to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-54, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, all in favor to adopt Standing Committee Report 23-54, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. 23-54 is hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 13, reports of special and conference committees. We have none. Item number 14, unfinished business. We have none. And now move down to the resolution calendar, and I recognize the Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to to pass House Resolution number 23-9, a House resolution to honor and commend Lieutenant Saralyn Ogumuro Escobar as the first Carolinian woman from Saipan, Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, to be a commissioned officer in the United States Navy. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of House Resolution number 23-9, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All right. All in favor to adopt House Resolution 23-9, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 23-9 is hereby adopted. Can we take a quick recess? Quick recess. Back to session. Before we went on recess, we just adopted House Resolution number 23-9, and we will continue. I now recognize the Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to adopt Senate Joint Resolution number 23-04 of Senate Communication 23-58, a Senate Joint Resolution to recognize and commend the partnership of the Natural Resources Conservation Service and the National Association of Conservation Districts for the unified commitment to conservation and strategic agricultural initiatives. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made by the Floor Leader for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution number 23-4, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata,
We are voting on Senate Joint Resolution 23-4.
Yes.
Representative Aldan. Representative Fatton,
Yes.
President Benavente,
Good.
Representative Angelo Komatsu,
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu,
Yes.
Representative Joel Komatsu,
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu,
Yes.
Representative Castro,
Ungan.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Yes.
Representative Gloria,
Yes.
Representative Vogel,
Yes.
Representative Omar,
Ungan.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan,
Ungan.
Representative Nicolas,
Yes.
Representative Yanktamai, Representative Yumo, Representative Yumo. Mr. Speaker,
Ungan.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With 19 members present voting yes, Senate Joint Resolution number 23-4 is hereby adopted. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution number 23-05, a Senate Joint Resolution to respectfully request the President of the United States of America and the Governor of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands to convene Covenant Section 902 consultations to discuss, negotiate, and address the challenging immigration and workforce issues, economic crisis, military expansion, transportation, and other pertinent critical issues affecting the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made by the Floor Leader for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution number 23-5, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Ada? Representative Aldan? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Hunggan.
Representative Angelo Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Joel Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Hunggan.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
Yes.
Representative Vogel?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hunggan.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Sablan?
Hunggan.
Representative Nicolas?
Yes.
Representative Yang Tamay?
Aware.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Draft. Thank you, Clerk. With 19 members present voting yes, Senate Joint Resolution number 23-05 is hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. Can we just take a 5-minute recess? Recess. All right, we will now rise back to session. Before we went on session, we just got done with the resolution calendar. We now proceed to item number 16, the bill calendar, and I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to pass House Bill number 22-77, Senate Draft 1, a bill for an act to authorize a revolving line of credit between the CNMI government and the Marianas Public Land Trust in the amount of $15 million with repayment terms until line of credit is satisfied or retired not to exceed 7 years and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made by the floor leader for the passage of House Bill number 22-77, Senate Draft 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Oh, excuse me, 23-77. Yani, floor leader? I'm just kidding. No, it's okay. It's clerk, just make that clear for the record that it was House Bill 23-77, Senate Draft 1. Any discussions?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
privilege, I'm
Yes.
just gonna
Yes.
read what I understand from the
Okay.
Senate draft. No,
Recognize.
yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. According from well, what I understand from the House Bill 23-77, Senate Draft 1, this will allow the governor to enter into a 15 million revolving line of credit with MPLT. And in addition, the bill is stated that any reimbursement received by the administration or the Department of Finance from the USEDA shall be applied toward the line of credit. And moreover, as amended by the Senate, rather than the pledge future interest income as security and withhold said income to settle the line of credit, the city may use EDA funds or other resources to settle each drawdown within 30 days. I think this approach is, Mr. Speaker and colleagues, this approach very prudent and appropriate, and it would be consistent with the proposed provision of the Senate Legislative Initiative 23-1, means a constitutional amendment that would require MPLT to deposit the interest of public land funds to an account restricted to person. And on the other note, I would like also to include that the project stated to be funded by the public debt authorization are projects in Saipan district, their senatorial district, and as much as I support any and all funds for the Senate's third senatorial district projects, I would be remiss if I did not ask the administration to consider Tinian and Rhoda for the CIP project. So with this, Mr. Speaker and colleagues, I am voting for the adoption for House Bill 23-77, House SD1. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield for now.
Thank you, Representative Patrick San Nicolas. I now recognize Representative BJ Ataw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I know that you yourself, Senate President, the governor had met with the MPOT regarding this legislation. It's unfortunate that we have to get to this point in introducing a legislation to allow a line of credit with MPOT. EDA in the beginning stages of these grants actually paid the monies up front, so we didn't have to worry about an upfront payment from our CNMI coffers. Unfortunately, today rules have changed and it's grant-based, so we have to make sure that we abide by their rules and their regulations. In addition to that, it's time-based. These grants are to expire within the next 3 to 4 years, so that's why we need this monies to get these projects rolling. And these projects are not only for the third senatorial district. this is for CNMI projects. A matter of fact, EDA had reached out to the first and second senatorial districts during their visit over here to ask if they actually have EDA potential projects within their respective senatorial districts so that they can fund these projects. And it doesn't expire. We have a 7-year time limit. So if there's any potential projects that EDA will approve for the first and second senatorial district, this line of credit can also be utilized within this period. I know that the House, we had included a 90-day payback period just to allow those monies to gain some sort of interest to be able to gain additional funds into our general fund. The Senate made those amendments. We have no qualms with that. We're just thinking of how to make additional funds for our general fund. But we're here today to act on the version that the Senate had amended. And with that being said, the MPLT and the administration, should this get to the governor's desk and sign into law, will allow both parties to negotiate the terms and conditions of this respective line of credit, whether it's that 5% that's currently in the legislation or 5.7%, maybe even less. We're hopeful that they can come to an understanding to a lesser degree in regards to the interests for this line of credit. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'm ready to vote on the legislation.
Thank you, Representative Attal. Any further discussion? Recognize Representative San Nicolas.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to say thanks to our good colleague, Rep. Attal, for getting into details for us to understand and making a lot of comprehensive details in order for this one to move on. So with that, I thank you, Rep. Attal.
Thank you, Representative San Nicolas. Any further discussions under this bill? We ready? And just to note, since this has to do with appropriations related issue, it's a 2/3 vote count. Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Attal?
Yes.
Representative Aldon?
Yes.
Representative Attal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Hungan.
Representative Angelo Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Joel Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Hungan.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Maglonia?
Yes.
Representative Vogel?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hungan.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Sablan?
Hungan.
Representative San Nicolas?
Yes.
Representative Yanktamay?
Aware.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, House Bill number 23-77, Senate Draft 1 hereby passes the House. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Moving on, I now move to pass House Bill number 23-47, Senate Draft 1, a bill for an act to establish parity in coverage and payments for mental health and behavioral health services delivered through telehealth and in person. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-47, Senate Draft 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Recognize Chairman Malcolm Omar.
Again, I thank my colleagues for their support of this initiative. This was the one I originally introduced here in the House, and the only revision was the addition of behavioral health to the title. Again, thank you, and I look forward to your support again in this vote.
Thank you, Representative Omar. Any further discussions? Ready? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Banda? Representative Aldon? Representative Attal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Hungan.
Representative Angelo Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Joel Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Hungan.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Maglonia?
Yes.
Representative Vogel?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hungan.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Sablan?
Hungan.
Representative San Nicolas?
Yes.
Representative Yanktamay?
Aware.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With 19 members present voting yes, House Bill number 23-47, Senate Draft 1 hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to pass Senate Bill number 23-34, Senate Draft 1, a bill for an act to amend the Crimes and Criminal Procedure Code definitions of dangerous weapon and serious bodily injury. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of Senate Bill number 23-34, Senate Draft 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata, Representative Aldan, Representative Attal,
Yes.
Representative Benavente, Representative Angelo Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Castro,
Ngan.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Yes.
Representative Maglonia,
Yes.
Representative Vogel,
Yes.
Representative Omar,
Hungan.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan,
Hungan.
Representative Nicolas,
Yes.
Representative Yanktamai,
Aware.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, Senate Bill number 23-34, Senate Draft 1 hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for passage for House Bill number 23-75 from Standing Committee Report number 23-48, a bill for an act to reappropriate $13,401 allotted under Public Law number 20-61 and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-75, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata, Representative Aldan, Representative Attal,
Yes.
Representative Benavente, Representative Angelo Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Castro,
Ngan.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Yes.
Representative Maglonia,
Yes.
Representative Vogel,
Yes.
Representative Omar,
Hungan.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan,
Hungan.
Representative Nicolas,
Yes.
Representative Yanktamai,
Aware.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, House Bill number 23-75 hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you. I now move for passage House Bill number 23-68, House Substitute 1 from Standing Committee Report number 2349, a bill for an act to impose a 10% ad valorem tax on private individuals purchasing vehicles from dealerships or private parties outside the CNMI, excluding business or commercial entities, and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of 23-68, House Substitute 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata, Representative Aldan, Representative Attal,
Yes.
Representative Benavente, Representative Angelo Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Castro,
Ngan.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Yes.
Representative Maglonia,
No.
Representative Vogel,
Yes.
Representative Omar,
Hungan.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan,
Ngan.
Representative Nicolas,
Yes.
Representative Yanktamai,
Aware.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 18 members voted yes and 1 member voted no.
Thank you, Clerk. With 18 voting yes and 1 voting no, House Bill number 23-68 hereby passes the House. I'm sorry, House Bill number 2368, House Substitute 1. Thank you, Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now move for passage House Bill number 23-78, House Substitute 1, Standing Committee Report number 2350, a bill for an act to increase the tax imposed on soft drink and alcoholic beverage containers. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-78, House Substitute 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Vada? Representative Vaughn? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente? Representative Angelo Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu? Representative Joel Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
No.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
No.
Representative Vogel?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hongan.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Sablan?
Hongan.
Representative Cindy Claus?
Yes.
Representative Yang Tamay?
Aware.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 60 members voted yes and 3 members voted no.
Thank you, Clerk, with 16 voting yes and 3 voting no. House Bill number 23-78, House Substitute 1 hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for passage House Bill number 23-79, Standing Committee Report number 23-51, a bill for an act to increase marriage license application fees. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-79, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Vada? Representative Vaughn?
Yes.
Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Hongan.
Representative Angelo Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Joel Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Hongan.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
Yes.
Representative Vogel?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hongan.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Sablan?
Hongan.
Representative Cindy Claus?
Yes.
Representative Yang Tamay?
Aware.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, House Bill number 23-79 hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for passage House Bill number 23-69 from Standing Committee Report number 2352, a bill for an act to exempt CDMI agencies from obtaining a permit for the repair, maintenance, or replacement of any public improvement that is not a new improvement, and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill 23-69, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Vada? Representative Vaughn?
Yes.
Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Yes.
Representative Angelo Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Diego Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Joel Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Komatsu?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Hongan.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
Yes.
Representative Vogel?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hongan.
Representative Probst?
Yes.
Representative Sablan?
Hongan.
Representative Cindy Claus? Representative Yang Tamay?
Yes.
Representative Cindy Claus? Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With 19 members voting yes, House Bill number 23-69 hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for passage House Bill number 23-70, House Substitute 1 from Standing Committee Report number 2353, a bill for an act to establish the offense of drunk and disorderly conduct as a payable infraction and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made by the Floor Leader for the passage of House Bill number 23-70, House Substitute 1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Vada? Representative Vaughn? Representative Pato,
Yes.
Representative Benavente, Representative Angelo Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Castro,
Hunggan.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Yes.
Representative Maglonia,
Yes.
Representative Vogel,
Yes.
Representative Omar,
Hunggan.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan,
Hunggan.
Representative Nicolas,
Yes.
Representative Youngtamay,
Aware.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members voting yes, House Bill number 23-70, House Substitute 1, hereby passes the House. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move, last on the bill calendar for passage, House Bill number 23-73 from Standing Committee Report number 54, a bill for an act to amend 1 CMC Section 7406A4 to include the Office of the Public Auditor vehicles in the definition of law enforcement vehicle. So moved.
Thank you, Floor Leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-73, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Pata, Representative Aldan, Representative Pato,
Yes.
Representative Benavente, Representative Angelo Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Representative Castro,
Hunggan.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores.
Yes.
Representative Maglonia,
Yes.
Representative Vogel,
Yes.
Representative Omar,
Hunggan.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Sablan,
Hunggan.
Representative Nicolas.
Yes.
Representative Youngtamay,
Aware.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members present voting yes, House Bill number 23-73 hereby passes the House. Thank you, colleagues. That takes care of the bill calendar. We now move down to item number 17, miscellaneous, and the floor is open. Ready? Ready? All right. Representative Manny?
Just a comment on House Bill 23-81 in regards to establishing a permanent one-stop shop business license and permitting center operated by the Department of Commerce. I just asked, like, maybe we should look at the initial language of the law that transferred it from Commerce to Department of Finance, and maybe we need to revisit that and just put it with Commerce if it's not, working the way it was designed to, instead of an MOU between Commerce and these other agencies. But at the same time, if we do transfer it to Commerce, I think more funding needs to be appropriated too, so that they can really execute their, because there was previous legislation that required them to go fully online, and right now they're not. I wouldn't say, if you go to their website, it's semi-online. It's online with PDF forms, which is not the intent of the initial law that was passed by the previous legislature. They're supposed to be digital, whereas you can apply and then submit everything and not have to upload or email a a PDF form. So it's a good legislation. I just think, like, I give props to Rep. Maglonia for looking into this, and I hope that we can not only make sure that it's streamlined, but at the same time provide the appropriate funding so that they can really do what they need to do. And then also check in with them and make sure that they're accomplishing what they were tasked to accomplish with the prior legislation of digitizing their processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Manny Castro. Recognize Representative TJ Maglonia.
Thank you, Rep. Castro, for your comments. Yes, introducing this bill, in no means do I feel like it's set in stone. Definitely open. everybody, all the agencies that will be involved, as well as all of us here in the legislature to, put our input. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but I know it's time that we move forward, and especially if we want to entice new businesses and grow this economy, we need to start, from first point of contact. And I think for businesses, your first impression makes a great impact, and I think we need to create more partnership between our government and businesses so we could both succeed and help each other out, and create an ecosystem that works for both sides. So that's my intent, and of course I know it's going to go to committee, and I hope we can work it out and create an even stronger legislation. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Manglonia. Floor is still open under miscellaneous. Recognize Representative Yankton.
I just want to say something about these taxes, because a lot of people are complaining about raising taxes. But I'm sure there are other ways that we can make money. Maybe we can invite, is it investors or some people to come and share with us the way they, for example, their shoe factories. These are old things, shoe factories, garment factories, bring them back. And yeah, and then we have a lot of people here, work. How do we do those things? Maybe we should all get together one day, at Probes Bar and discuss these things. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. Because people are really complaining about the taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Yankton. My floor leader? Or go ahead. Okay, Representative Marissa Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, I've also been getting, some input and insight from everybody throughout the CNMI, both on and off island. And I do believe wholeheartedly that, nobody wants to raise taxes. No one. But given the situation that we're in, our hands are pretty much tied. And I do agree with the sentiment of our colleague Yang Tamai. And I also feel that there's more we can do to improve the quality of life here. But the bigger picture is, how do we do that, right? In order to improve the quality of life for people who receive healthcare, we got to infuse money into our healthcare network. How do we do that? These are all conversations that we can have. Cost of goods is going up. And nobody seems to be tracking how much cost of goods was last month compared to this month. And there are agencies that are tasked to do that. So in order for us to make conscious decisions and vote on such legislation, we also rely on the entities to provide us this kind of information, so that anytime we are in here to vote on whatever legislation it is, the end result is improving the quality of life. And as mentioned, there's other things that we also should consider. The minimum wage. It's been $7.25, $7.50 now. I think it's going to go up soon. But even at that, the level playing field for those people that want to get subsistence and food stamp, they have that afforded to them. But there's many of us too that don't even qualify for that. What about those people? We need to figure out a way to balance. We need to figure out a way to do it. And as long as we continue to have open dialogue and respect each other during the process, then it's okay. But we all have to go and do our due diligence. We took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas. It's not going to be easy to please. We can't please everybody, but like I said, if Representative Colbert said it the best at the last session. Everything's free, 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 but how do we fund it? Where do we find that money? And even if we brought in investors, it's not even user friendly for anybody to come in here. There's other discussions that need to be discussed also. Article 12 is going to be a big issue, inviting these investors to come in. Nobody wants to do business for 55 years to throw in $700 million and not get their investment back in 10 years. It just doesn't make sense. So there's a lot of areas that we need to improve. And yes, you're right, raising taxes is not, nobody wants to do it, but we also need to improve internally, systemically, before we even consider bringing in new investors here, because there's a lot that we still need to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Marissa Flores. Any further under miscellaneous? Representative Vincent Odan.
Okay. Let me just read a quote from one of the, the founding fathers, right? Thomas Jefferson. And I quote, "Consolatory proof that wherever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government, and that whenever things get so far wrong as to attract their notice, they may be relied on to set them to rights." Now, what does that mean? Let's talk about this taxes, okay? So let me just throw in a flashbang in here so that it'll wake everybody up, not just here in the legislature, but out there in the public. Nobody wants to pay taxes any more than they do right now. But yet, we want the best medical health care clinic in the world, top of the line. Everybody wants this place to be the #1 tourist destination. But yet nobody wants to pay the taxes that goes with it. If you want something, expect to pay up. It's not free. You want the best, you pay. You want a good government, get involved. Don't be, let's stop this under the mango tree picnic table, no legislation and administration. Okay, yes, I'm tired of hearing it when I'm out there. Yes, it's part of our job to listen, okay? But if you're expecting more aid than what we can give, then expect to pay. Because the money that we provide out to the public and when we distribute it or reappropriate it, that's exactly your money that you put into. It's everybody's money. And we're only going to pay for what we can afford. Now, I'm all about investors coming in. I'm all for that. But it's a lot easier to clean your house first than it is to attract new businesses to come in. Because if the government is rampant on spending money that it doesn't have, and then passing on the burden to the public and to the private sector, well, it's a give and take. If businesses and the community, the people at large, have issues with government agencies, then get involved. Write a report and get it published in the newspaper that, the Department of Revenue and Taxation, they didn't pay their tax return in time. Make a complaint so it can be fixed. The people cannot expect the legislature and administration to fix itself. We need everybody's help. We can't do it alone. As much as we want to, reality check, you can't. If you want a responsible government, you have to get involved. Educate yourself. Understand what's really going on. And let's not, react. You need to be proactive to have a good government. That's the only way. And yes, we want to invite all kinds of investors, but remember, we're competing against the world. The whole world. We're not competing against the other islands. No, we're competing against other countries with their tourism, and everything. What makes us so special? Reality, nothing. Nothing makes us special. You want to invite businesses in, You have to have a good government, a responsible government, a fair tax system that attracts businesses, not detract them. To have a smooth process of paperwork that is required to do business instead of having all kind of red tape. So yes, I'm saying a lot of things that are not popular, but I guarantee you it is the truth. Everybody in this whole CNMI needs to get involved. Yes, we all are all having a hard time. But in order to fix it, we need to work together. And the public have to hold their own representatives, and administration accountable. You, the public, own this government. If you do not like what we're doing, then get up here and say something. Write something to let everybody else know. But do not expect for all of us here, the 20 of us here in the House, that we can solve everybody's problems. We would love to, but reality is we can't, not without your help. So let's stop this picnic table lawyerism and whatnot and get in here and help us fight the fight and not complain so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Vincent Aldan. Any further under miscellaneous? Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. Everybody check your blood pressure right now. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you all. It was a great session today, and I do want to applaud, some good thinking, and our colleague, Representative Maglonia. I'm sure that when he came up with this bill, he talked to a lot of frustrated business owners that are tired of the runaround. I don't know if you guys have ever ran a business. Some of you have, but it's difficult having to go from place to place. Can't do things online. Expecting a business license 7 days is very reasonable, but yet it takes way longer than that. There's a lot of frustration. And the sad thing is that we depend on these businesses for their taxes to help pay for our salaries and for so much more. And that is why it is bills like this that we all have to embrace and somehow find a way to make it easier for all businesses, small and large. That's just the way to move forward. We're talking about attracting investors. Investors don't want to do business where it's difficult to do business. We have to have a very pro-business climate. And this is one of the ways that we do it, through good legislation, smart legislation. And the nice thing about this is it doesn't matter what aisle you're on. We're all in this together. We're all looking for ways to improve our quality of life, as Congresswoman Flores had stated. The quality of life is critical here. And yes, most definitely, my dear colleague, it is not free. We expect for businesses to honor their promises, to honor their payments, so that what little taxes we're collecting is going to improve this quality of life. And I say this because we had one of the greatest opportunities just recently. We had a gift of ARPA of $500 million. And the fact that we're just right now, right here, already figuring out how can we, find a little bit of money here and there through taxation is sad. Because if you look at that 500 million, how many years could that keep this economy afloat? What could we have used in that to improve the quality of life here? And we can go around in circles. But I also want to state something that we have to really move on as one body, guys, is to figure out, when are we going to pressure the Commonwealth Casino Commission to pull the trigger and revoke that casino license? And I say that because we're hearing promises that they will be paying $4 million a year, $5 million, $1 million here and there. But with all the promises that they have violated and everything that they have reneged on, how can we know that they're sincere? I'm going to be talking to Chairman of Gaming, Yumo, of pulling in the Commonwealth Casino Commission. I think that's something that at this point we need to do. But all of us, every single one of us in this room right now, should be a part of this meeting. It shouldn't only be gaming. The speaker should be there, the vice speaker, our leader, San Nicolas. Every one of us has a vested interest in this casino that has not produced, but is an eyesore to our tourist district. No matter how much improvement we do in Garapan, especially for our precinct 3 representatives, you know that eyesore is going to stand there. And it's also dangerous. There are a lot of concerns about can it even be continued, the construction on it. These are things where we need to look and ensure that independent engineers and architects, an independent team comes in and assesses that building to see if it is even worthy of continuing. But it is this body, through working together, where we will resolve and find these answers. So I ask you, colleagues, that as we continue to press for new legislation to try and help our people, let's also look at existing legislation and promises that were made that were reneged on. And what is this body going to do about it? I'm ready to push and to work hard in revoking that license, unless there is some money that falls from the sky from IPI. But that's about as likely as pigs flying. So anyway, colleagues, thank you for this time. I appreciate all the work you guys do on a daily basis. You take so much criticism and heat. I want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you for the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Floor Leader. I now recognize Representative Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to say a few words in English, and at the same time, I'll speak in Chamorro. Mr. Speaker, since the previous bills that we have, revenue generating bills, until now that we continue to try to fine-tune our revenue for our government. But the challenge here, Mr. Speaker, is the enforcement, the tax, not only on the tax, and all other area, revenue generating area, has to be addressed through enforcement. And that's the only way that we can come apart with our needs here, the financial capacity of the CNMI. If we can do the enforcement, cars, taxis are running outside without even permit or whatnot. Until now, it hasn't been enforced. So these are the petty issues that we look into. But we have to look outside the box more and try to accumulate all this and enforce and accumulate all these funds that could derive from these bills that we've introduced. And that's all I say, Mr. Speaker, in English. I would say in Chamorro, este na problema po ako itapadidisi. Este po ako na problema itapadidisi. Ginini tayo sa lapig sa Marianas. Dongkulo na problema safa. Tinahong tauto galon gobernamento ni man machuchuchu para ma fuerza todo do iguaha siya na atto ni manisita ni para tanaserbi para ta collect para revenue para fincas Marianas. Law isti na fincas umaanong nakumu tatsowi chisota como time fuerza mo na todo different area, todo bandan gobernamento. Jama chogi chichunya kabalis ginigi para umain fuerza mo na. Sinya kabalis tarikohi na tax data na anaw mo na sti operasyon ni gobernamento. Mr. Speaker, jausti na discussion pa ako sa gagi ultimo gi durante ni session. Daw jaulo kino matungo ni publiko na este na klaseng problema miguahu tizaw no introduce tax sofa. Kada introduce tax, pinapat sa ikapasidad itautog yalong guma, yalong familia, interamenti gida Marianas. Pusijigi na lekko. Maila data fanazura. Data influenza monas tina kinalamtim. And now, Mr. Speaker, Jesus Mosi.
Jesus Mossi, Representative Roman Beneventi. Any further under miscellaneous? Ready? All right, we now move down to announcements. Item number 18, anything under the announcements? Recognize Representative Diego Camacho.
And speaking of new investments, I'd like to remind the members of the cannabis committee members and open to all the other members as well as for 1:30 presentation today by Catalyst Consulting Advisors and Cannabis Incorporated. They have other investment opportunities aside from cannabis. So I welcome you all to join us at 1:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Camacho. Recognize Representative Danita Yanktamay.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, everyone, for supporting House Resolution 23-9. That's the one to honor and commend Lieutenant Sarilyn Ogumro Escobar. I would like to ask everyone that if you can show up at the excuse me, multi-purpose on November 11 at 3 p.m. so we can present the the plaque that Miss Lynn will be working on later on. And this is November 11. That's on Saturday, 3 p.m. at multi-purpose. We will present the plaque. Please, everyone come. And then we will have there will be a reception at the CAO at 6 p.m. on the same day. And I think the Veterans Day, no, is observed. Yeah, is observed on Friday. So this one will be at American Memorial Park. No, so you should all be free at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank
I
you,
yield.
Representative Yanktamay. Sounded like you tried Representative Diego. That investment sounds good already. No. Any further under announcements? Yes.
I'm very sorry. I forgot something. This lady, Lieutenant Sarilyn Ogumro Escobar, requested for her promotion to happen here as an inspiration for the other kids of the CNMI. So please come and get inspired. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Yanktamay. With nothing further under announcements, for those that went to APIL, we'll be having a meeting on Wednesday, 10 o'clock, here in the conference room. Okay. Kiniso Chapur. All right, with nothing further, we move down to adjournment. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Subject to the call of the Speaker, I move for adjournment.
Thank you. A motion has been made for adjournment and has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor for the motion, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Session's adjourned. Thank you, colleagues.